All right, so now we're going to be talking about covalent bonding, and what's really nice is covalent bonding is a lot easier to name and formula right than ionic bonding. So covalent bonding, atoms share the electrons to become more stable, okay? So they're sharing. Before ionic was transferring, so that's one big difference. And in covalent bonding, we're talking about all nonmetals. Everything is a nonmetal. So that's everything kind of the right-hand corner of your periodic table that we colored orange, okay? Now in covalent bonds, they form molecules, and that means it's a group of atoms joined by a covalent bond. So a molecule is a group of atoms joined by a covalent bond. Another thing we have to keep in mind for covalent bonding is diatomic elements. And we talked about diatomic elements back in the periodic table notes that I attached in the Google Classroom. But what diatomic elements are is they are elements that are so reactive that they do not exist by themselves in nature, okay? They have to bond with another atom of themselves. And there's 7 of them, okay? And we call it the 7 rhyme. So the 7 diatomic elements are nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. It's because if you look at where they're at on the periodic table, they kind of even make a 7 like this. And then it's, don't forget the 7th one, which is hydrogen up by itself in the corner. So you by all means could write those down on your periodic table, outline them in blue like I have here, write them off to the side, because nitrogen, if I were to say, give me the formula for nitrogen, it is N2. Yes, the symbol is just regular old N, but the formula is N2 because nitrogen cannot have one atom of it in nature. It's so reactive that it wants to react by itself. All right? So what's really cool about covalent is that we use these prefixes. So again, you might want to put these in your notes or on your back of your periodic table again. That will help you out. So this is the rules when we have all nonmetals. We're going to use prefixes for namings, okay? So like 1 stands for mono, 2 di, 3 tri, and so on, okay? So take a minute or pause the video, write those down. Now how you're going to use these, let's scroll this down. Oops, what did I just do? Sorry. Fixed whatever it is that I did wrong. It just says naming compounds. It got cut off up there. But when we name covalent compounds, we use the prefix to show how many of each atom is in the formula, okay? One of the rules is that mono is not used for the first element. So an example, if we have something NO2, we know that this is covalent because N and O are both nonmetals. There's 1 nitrogen here because there is no subscript there. And remember, when there's no subscript, you assume that it's a 1. So you'd want to think, oh, it's mononitrogen. But no, we don't use mono for the first element. So it's just nitrogen. There's 2 oxygens. 2 from the prefix from before is di. So you put that in front, and so it's nitrogen dioxide. So what we do, well, let's try this one over here, the C and the O. C is carbon. There is only 1 of them because there's no subscript right here, right? Do you see where I'm looking? I'm looking right here at this carbon. Okay, there's no subscript. So it's just regular carbon because, again, I don't use mono on the first element. There's also only 1 oxygen as well, but here we can use the mono. So this is monoxide. So the naming rules still apply where you change the ending to IDE, but now we're just doing the prefixes. This N4O8, 4 is tetra, N is nitrogen. So again, I'm not really changing that first word, okay, like before we didn't really change the first letter, we just put the prefix in front of it. 8 is oct, so it's octoxide. Okay, so you just use those prefixes. Now when we're writing formulas, you do the same sort of thing. You are not, I repeat, you are not ever doing charges for covalent compounds. So it's really rather nice, okay? Carbon, there is no prefix out in front right here, so that means there's just 1 of them. So it's just the C. Di means 2, oxygen is O, so it's O2. Di means 2, nitrogen is obviously nitrogen, so it's N, so it's N2. Tri means 3, oxide is O, so it's O3. The tri goes with the O. So that's covalent compounds for you. It's pretty simple with those prefixes. So again, I'll put this on the Google Classroom as part of practice problems, but let's just go over it in case you have any sort of problems. There is one carbon here. We don't use mono on the first one, so it's just regular old carbon. There's 2 oxygens, so it's dioxide. You got to remember to change that ending to IDE again. Again, 1 carbon, we don't use mono. 4 hydrogens, so it's tetrahydride. You'll learn later that is also methane. If you've ever heard of methane, that is another name for that. But hydrogen would change to hydride. 2 sulfurs right here, so you go di-sulfur tetraoxide. Now the below overriding formula is carbon. There's only one of them. It's an O. Monoxide, that is, or it's a C, excuse me. Monoxide, that is only 1 O. Nitrogen, that is only 1 N. There's no prefix in front of it. Tri means 3, so O3. Dihydrogen, H2, monoxide, O. That is water. Dihydrogen monoxide is water. So you could just ask for a nice big old glass of dihydrogen monoxide the next time you go somewhere and need some water. All right, and so something that I would do to help study once you're all done with the covalent quizzes is, so after this, you're going to learn about hydrogen, or carbon, excuse me. You're going to learn about carbon and hydrocarbons, so that's organic chemistry. Then you're going to take a covalent quiz, okay? When you're done with that, and we take a bonding test, just a general bonding test, what I would highly recommend a way to study is doing a kind of T-chart or a Venn diagram and compare ionic and covalent. So something you could say for ionic, you could say, oh, they transfer electrons, and covalent shares electrons. How I remember that is sharing is caring. Sharing starts with this. Caring starts with a C, covalent starts with a C. So sharing is caring, caring starts with a C, covalent starts with a C. That's how I remember that one. But you could go all, ionic is a metal and a non-metal, covalent is all non-metals. So there's lots of different things you could talk about. You could talk about the rules and the formulas, but just make sure you know the difference between ionic and covalent, all right? Alrighty, so what you're going to want to do then is go watch the videos that Miss Fuller has made on hydrogen, and she's Louise, on carbon, excuse me, and it's called hydrocarbons. That's what you want to go look at next. And then you will take a organic quiz. So you'll take a covalent quiz, then we'll have an organic quiz, and then you'll have a bonding quiz. All right, thanks.